As we crossed the channel, we were part of the largest fleet that had ever been assembled up to that point. And it was striking and dramatic. And all of us aboard those ships had very much the same feelings we did as we crossed the Atlantic, only greatly intensified. During most of D-Day, we were anchored in the harbor right alongside the battleship Pennsylvania. Now, if you've never heard a battleship let go of its 16-inch guns, you haven't been exposed to real noise. It makes the earth tremble. Now, something happened that night, which I've never seen documented or recorded in any way. Over us, many of the ships were flying barrage balloons whose purpose was to keep German fighters from diving on them and strafing them at close range. And as we lay in the harbor the night of D-Day, those barrage balloons were still overhead. And there was one plane that crossed the beach, one German plane that crossed the beach from west to east, and virtually every gun in the fleet let go at that plane. And as it flew across the sky, one barrage balloon after another was hit by our bullets and exploded in flame. So the whole harbor was simply aflame with burning barrage balloons, which then dropped towards the ship from which they were anchored and caused the crews quite a problem in getting rid of them. On D-Day itself, when the ships unloaded, when the infantry and artillery and tanks began to hit the beach, we were waiting for our appointed slot in the operation. So we were offshore, and we did not land until the next day in accordance with the original schedule. Until then, we heard no news about the losses. We knew that ground had been gained, but very little, and possibly less than had been expected, and that there were casualties and probably more than had been expected. But when we landed, a stretch of about 2 or 3 miles had been captured, and we moved into that area off the beach a mile or so. The next day, members of my unit were rounded up and taken to the beach, where they were required to pick up bodies and parts of bodies and bring them back to a central station where they could be tended to and buried. So while I was not on that detail, when our men returned, they gave us the ghastly stories of what the beachheads looked like and what the casualties had actually been. All we saw was more troops and vehicles, tanks and artillery being landed along with us and behind us. And we knew that somewhere up ahead, the rest of our outfit was located, and that we would be moved up until we were very close to the actual front. And in the event, that's what happened. Well, I didn't really think it was more than had been expected, and I really felt that having gained ground and maintained it, despite any possible Nazi reversal, we were far ahead of the game, and had confidence that we would progress from that point.